Joining us for the first time, my name is Lucy Wanjiko Tsula. I am your trainer for and organizer for this course. I head the communications department at Wild Animal Protection. And for this, I am also the executive director of Participatory Communications Network, which is a communications consultancy and the sole publisher of Animal People magazine, which at some point I'll get to share. So for this training, we are doing this training. This is one of the many that we do for science-based professionals. And the call is to build a community of science communicators, whether in human medicine and in animal medicine, to just work with scientists like you to digest the science and give it to the public for consumption and for public good. So our work is to build an animal people tribe, people who are changing the world with their communication. I thank you for joining us and for believing in us. And a special mention to all those who reached out to me from last week's training for support in email marketing, for support with Zoom, and also a few for support with SMS marketing and content generation. Please, if you have not heard from me, the emails were so many on the calls, and we will be coming back in the next, at least by tomorrow, you should have received a communication from us. So thank you for trusting in us and believing in us. Let me just share that. If you're joining us for the first time again, this course is a 2-hour course every Thursday, 6 to 8. We'll endeavor to keep time, unlike today. Every session is worth 2 CPD points. Please note that you must join from start to end for you to earn the points. But as we always say at Animal People and at PCN, the purpose is yes to gain CPD points, but to also improve in our personal development courses, because you realize one of the things that keep us not to get our potential, to realize our full potential, is actually communication and how we apply communication. So the purpose is to improve ourselves. It's a personal journey for all of us, but you have to join from start to end to earn the CPD points. Please note we give the tally or the data of those who join to KVB at the end of every session. So if you miss one session, you also miss the CPD point. So it's important to join all the courses for the next 10 weeks. As usual, share workbooks and notes and your self-work for the week at the end of the session, and sometimes on your email. I think we had an improvement last week. As you proposed to us, we were able to share the self-work by the end of Friday, and we saw an improvement in uptake. In terms of the rules, use the chat box as is given. You can kudos, you can thumbs up, you can use the reaction button. We also urge you to be vulnerable, allow yourself to run, be present, mute unless you are speaking, do your self-work, and then also use the WhatsApp responsibly. And I want to thank you all for really engaging in the WhatsApp in a good manner. I think you guys are good people in this program. Now, our partners are CEDA, Heifer International, Tetravar, Moran Life Sciences, who are the sole importers and distributors of Impex vitamin C supplements, something that they are selling at wholesale prices in the local pharmacies. Now let's do a course recap. Week 1, 2, and 3, we looked at week 1, we looked at introduction to digital skills. Week 2, we looked at Zoom for Business, the uses, system, and cost. Week 3, that is last week, we indulged in a very unique system called email marketing, something that proved to be new but effective depending on the responses that came back. Then we had course partners, and I hope that you found time to practice And then in the chat, I'll not do that because of time, we'll not do that. Let's dive into week 4, SMS marketing. So in this course today, we look at SMS marketing, and we look at how you can use SMS to market your business, to market yourself, to pass information from what you have to the other people, that is the public. We look at how SMS works, when to use SMS marketing, and then why SMS marketing is effective, and steps to creating a powerful SMS marketing system. Remember, SMS go hand in hand with email marketing. So the same tactics that you used in email marketing are the same ones you'd use in SMS marketing. Let's look at your chat box now. I'm sure most of us have used SMS marketing, or you have received an SMS, a bulk SMS before. So in the chat box, tell us, have you ever used SMS marketing before? Have you ever used SMS marketing? And when did you use it? And how was the experience? If you have received any bulk SMS marketing a product, you can also type in the chat box and tell us, you know, how the experience was. Did you end up buying what was being sold to you, and what was it for? So in the chat box, you have just 2 minutes. Type in the chat box whether you have used SMS marketing before and how. I'll read your chat as we go by. So in your chat box, in the chat box, please tell us how you have used the SMS marketing before. Yeah, let's go. You have a minute. Joseph Mwangi says he has only received a bulk SMS. Zachary Rukenya, you have used it to sell. I want to hear your experience. Zachary, please prepare. You tell us how you used it and how the experience was, Zachary. Faith Munyoki says no, not yet used. When calling, making an order, promotional. Like Lena says, promotional marketing received. Oh yeah, publicity to farmers. A lot of SMS marketing from Safaricom. Yes, to wish clients Merry Christmas. Thank you, Daniel Mutuli. Yeah, only Stanley says he only received bulk SMS. Yes, Twitter to mobilize. You have used it to mobilize. Thank you very much. Paul Kimeu. And yeah, I received a message from Safaricom about their new products. Yes, I think Safaricom is leading in bulk SMSs, and the banks as well. They have effectively used SMS marketing. James Gishinga says yes, introducing new products to sales agents. Thank you, Jane Githinji. I've received promotional texts from supermarkets. Yes, supermarkets are very active in bulk SMSing and telling us what the offers they have. Then Beth has used in calling for meetings, probably with farmers or with stakeholders. Joshua, no. Yeah, thank you. So a few, most of us. Anisha says he received from a couple of Wujik supermarkets and mobile companies. Okay, good. So at least a few of us have managed to, or have received or used SMS. Bulk SMS, that's the common word is actually bulk SMS, but it's actually called SMS marketing. But in Kenya, the big term is bulk SMS. So most of us have actually received an SMS, a promotional SMS, or sent out either to mobilize farmers or to sell a product. Now, that is good of you. Thanks for all your replies. I'll give you a little story about TNC. This is tiles and carpets. I'm sure most of us maybe have interacted with tiles and carpets. They sell curtains. Yeah, they used to be very big before E3 came and all these other people who are selling curtains. But if you have been following tiles and carpets, they have a time in July, between June and July, they have a very big marketing campaign. They go on radio, they go on TV to advertise, 50% sales on various products, mainly curtains, tiles, and sinks, and all these things. For those of us who love buying those things, and we all know that their prices are not cheap. But if you noted this year, there was not a single media advert from tiles and carpets. What they did, they used the SMS platforms. They used the database that they have of their customers, and they quietly told people about tiles, about the offers that they had. Now, I happened to pass by there and I asked them, why didn't you advertise? And their response was that they actually got more sales. They made more sales this year. Why? Because they targeted the people who have bought from them before. So they targeted the returnee customers. Oh, thank you. They targeted the customers who are coming back, and they were able to convert those customers to another buy and another buy and another buy, and with fewer costs. So the investment was very low because they have, when you go there and you are selling, you are buying something, you leave your telephone number, and then they would just send you a bulk SMS. Quite an effective campaign, which I think is a lot of learning from. If our institutions were doing various in-depth research, I would recommend that they do a research on how they were able to convert and just use SMS campaign instead of having the big budget and spending on the media. And it's something that we can learn from and implement. Let me also give you a little snapshot from our polls. You remember the second week or the first week thereabouts, we did carry a poll as a PCN to the people on the platform right now. And the poll was, when did you first hear of this training? We asked you, when did you first hear of this training? Incidentally, that 1% of you heard about this training through the SMS. That 4% heard about this training through the emails that we sent you. This means that bulk SMS and email marketing were ranked the highest in conversion. When we sent out the email or the SMS, we said, please join us, register here. The fact that we had a Google form that the participants were filling, we actually got over 500 people filling that form. And this was done, that 1% of that was through SMSs. So you can see the power of bulk SMS in mobilizing and in converting people to either make a buy or to inform them about something or to do a public campaign. Hence this saying, SMS is a powerful marketing channel with incredibly high read and redemption rates. About 97% of text messages are opened, almost all of which are read within several minutes of receipt. Hence the importance of using SMS marketing. Let's look at what is really SMS marketing. What are we talking about when we speak about SMS marketing? One, SMS marketing is used to send promotional campaigns for marketing purposes using a text message. So I will draw a lot of experience from what we have been able to work and do at PCN. We ran several campaigns for various organizations, SMS marketing. So when we send out an SMS to tell you there is this course that we are training, you are able to read it on your phone and convert, either fill a Google form or make a payment or even get to know about an organization called PCN. These messages are mainly used to communicate time-sensitive offers or updates or alerts to receive. So for example, you've seen banks, say like Stanchart, telling you be alert about fraudsters. Why do they do that? They keep themselves top of mind. You're always thinking about Standard Chartered because they sent you an SMS. Safaricom is another big one, big brother, using a lot of, and you have seen from the chat, a lot of us are getting SMSs from Safaricom, or the telcos really are big on that platform. Now, messages on SMS or bulk SMS are very short. You are limited to just about 160 characters and more immediate on delivery. When you hear an SMS, you want to look at it and even read it and perhaps react to it, or you are notified. So that is what SMS is about. And really, it's just about 160 characters. They have immediate delivery, and they are used for time sensitive. You are looking at a very defined time to deliver this. Okay, so that is what SMS marketing is, and it's different from the SMSs that we type on our phones, and I'll show you why. If I use my phone to send something to about 182 of us, many people might miss that SMS because they'll ask, who is this SMS from? If you don't have my number, you will not be able to know who it is from. But when you use a bulk SMS, you already have an identification, and I'll be talking about identity and the importance of identity, hence the importance of SMS marketing for yourself or for your business. Now, how does it work? SMS marketing are sent via a short code. You have seen that when we send an SMS, it comes through our name, which is PCN, the short format of Participatory Communications Network. It is, this is opposed to full telephone numbers, yeah? These short codes are typically 5 to 6 digits and associated with one set. I'm sure you have received from PCN, from banks, from Glovo, from KVA, you have received all these SMSs. So they come with an identification and is a very short code, and there are providers across the range who will be able to give you this. One requirement of a provider for them to be able to provide the service to you is that they must be registered with the commission, it's called what? Commission of Communications Authority of Kenya. And this is because of the sensitivity around the data. You can imagine, like, I have your telephone numbers. You don't want me to share those telephone numbers with anyone else. So I have to be registered. We are registered with Communication Authority of Kenya, and there are a whole lot of forms that you sign to ensure that you are not selling people's numbers. So when we send an SMS to you, the message would appear as a text message from whatever short code provider you used. If it's Safaricom or it's Safaricom Home, you get that number, as a name there. That's why you have to include your company's name. So we are saying that PCN, Participatory Communication, has an SMS system, which is used to mobilize at least the people who have paid, and for other corporates that we also work with. The next thing you might want to know is, what are the types of SMS marketing? We have the campaigns. Campaign messages are very classic. It is one to many. Bulk text messages are typically used to communicate promotions, either coupons or sales, or general information like event details, updates, weather alerts, especially for people who work with farmers. You can also use to communicate a disease outbreak. You can Sorry about that. So the campaigns can be when you have a disease outbreak, for example, in a certain zone, you can use an SMS to communicate to the farmers in that area that there's a disease outbreak. And I think this is one of the things that has been used a lot around veterinary profession and NGOs that work within with farmers. I know at Wild Animal Protection, we have used it to talk about vaccination drives. When we have a vaccination drive, we go out and tell people we'll have a vaccination drive in this region. So we use SMSs to mobilize people to join in the campaign. Then another type is the transactional messages, which are one-to-one, and they are triggered to affect a certain behavior. Let me just, okay. Oh. An example of this would be an order confirmation. For example, when you are doing e-commerce, you have bought something or you are shipping something, you are shipping medicines from, say, some other country like India. If you're operating an agrovet, you get a notification that this order has arrived in Mombasa, port, or this order has arrived. You need to pick it from your courier. I have seen G4S send an SMS saying, your order has arrived, please tell us where to find you. So they are transactional. And I know most of us have received this kind, or even the messages that you get from the bank that your salary has come in, those are transactional SMSs. Now, why is SMS marketing effective? One, SMS marketing is cheap. I actually think it is the cheapest mode of communication because you can communicate via bulk SMS for as little as 30 cents. Betting companies use SMSs a lot. I was speaking to an executive of a betting company recently deployed to serve as a country director in one of these betting companies. And he was telling me they send about 10 million SMSs per month, telling people bet. I know here we don't bet, but that is one of the things that is intriguing. It's so cheap and they spend so little to send 10 million SMSs per month. So it's actually the cheapest, and hence the need to adopt it and make it one of our best marketing tools. You have also seen people complain about the Fuliza things, Fuliza, the Timiza. You can imagine how many SMS they send per month to the people who have borrowed with them. There was this expose on how they consistently call you. Now, it's the same way they consistently send bulk SMSs to you to pay to the people who have. But again, here we don't have Fuliza, guys. Kudos. So they are there and they use SMSs a lot because it's cheap. And what if we borrow from this? We are able to send SMSs to our agrovets, to our businesses. We are able to send to farmers because it's a very cheap way of marketing. The other one is market integration. You can integrate SMS marketing with other marketing campaigns, whether you are on social media or on Facebook, or even the email marketing that we spoke about last week. You are able to integrate, or even use a Google link. You are able to interpret it with a Google link, like what PCN did to mobilize. We had a Google Drive or a Google form which you'd register. Now, the penetration of smartphone, we have 81% of us owning a smartphone, and it's not just in Nairobi. Things have changed. It's everywhere. In every village, you can find people with phones, which makes it a very good way of driving engagement for your business online. Then there's also high engagement rates. Research shows that 90% of SMSs are read within 3 minutes of receiving them. Hence, the conversion and success rate is very high. Then if you are going into an emerging market, say a country where data is expensive. And we know these countries, understand a country like Ethiopia, buying data is not cheap, it's very expensive. And we also remember when Safaricom was just beginning, buying data was quite expensive. I also hear the same complaints in Uganda, especially areas where there is no Wi-Fi. It's very expensive, but SMSs provide a penetration, like big penetration for you. Then it's also direct. It arrives directly in the recipient inbox, and often you remain as an alert on the person's phone, until it's open. So when you send an SMS, you get it there until it's open. And when it goes, then it's also measurable, and I will show you how. Whenever we send an SMS to all of you, let's say we are sending to the 200, we are able to see who opened it for how long, and whether they even clicked the link that we provided. Especially this is used when you are doing a mobilization campaign. Very important, because you're able to know, are you really penetrating? Are you making a change? Are you moving your campaign? Then SMS is also time efficient. It takes a very little time to type a text, but again, you have to have that platform. Remember, this is different from typing on your phone. You are using a certain platform that is set just for the SMSs. Then it boosts your multi-channel campaign, especially if you have had practice or looking for an upcoming sale, you have a vaccination drive coming up, or you have exclusive discounts for your customers, you are able to boost that sale in the you are also able to really put it in a multi-channel campaign and boost your sales. No more audio. I hope you can all hear me. Seeing no more audio. Okay. The other thing we have about SMS marketing, actually the advantages are quite many, but you are also able to ensure that you have the highest level of security and confidentiality of client database. Remember, there are all those papers you sign with the Communications Authority of Kenya before you do any SMS marketing or you provide that. So that provision ties you to a very stringent laws. You can actually be taken to court if you breach the confidentiality of your client database. So it's more secure and is an advantage to the user. Like the bank will never give your database to anyone else. So the fidelity levels of database, of the client database, is very high. And also the good thing that we have actually used for PCN is you can schedule. For example, in our system, we have scheduled the an SMS reminder to you to remind you that today we have this training. But again, today it didn't work. That's why maybe systems, you never replace human beings. It didn't work today, but you can actually schedule the SMS to send even when you're on vacation or on leave. You just need to say, send at this time, just like email. You can schedule a SMS to run at a specific time, to run at a certain time, and you will see when is the best time to send your SMSs. Remember, it's not all the time. For example, if you receive an SMS when you are at home between 5 and 8, I don't think that even if it's a promotional sale, will sell. So I'm going to show you when is the right time to send a bulk SMS that really converts. Now, you might want to ask me, what do I need to start a bulk SMS system for my company or for my business? One, you need a bulk SMS provider, and there are many, because they have the necessary infrastructure in place for SMS deliverability and the ability to run SMS in the inbox. Remember, as we said earlier, the bulk SMS we are talking about here is not using your phone, but using a special short code that identifies your business. So if it's PCN, if it's Animal People Magazine, if it's Lucy Wanjiko, if that's what your business is about, or you need a bulk SMS provider where you can log in. It has all the scheduling. You can see what is happening in the back end. You can see what's our open rates like. You can see how many people maybe clicked the link if you had a link attached to it. You can even see how many people engaged with SMS depending on how long they were on that SMS. You're able to see all that in a dashboard. So you need a bulk SMS provider, and there are quite many. Then the next thing you need is a contact list. This list contains contacts of interested subscribers who have opted in to receive an SMS communication from you. So you have a contact list. And last time we looked at how you can collect your contact list from events, from website, via subscription, point of sales, Farmers Day, agricultural days, visitors book, vaccination drive, all these things. You have, if you want to invest in an SMS marketing, you have to be out there collecting contacts. Remember, like before, you cannot get these contacts from an organization. You have to proactively go out and collect the SMSs, the telephone numbers, and then come back to the office, feed the numbers to your system, to your SMS system, as provided by bulk SMS provider. So you need that. And there are many ways of collecting it. You just need to be proactive. You need to have a strategy, and you need to have that commitment. For wild animal protection, we have used our vaccination drive as one of the areas of collecting. Agricultural shows, whenever we go out, we are big on that. PCN uses when we go out marketing the Animal People magazine, we also use our contact database on website. We also use our print newsletter to ask people for their numbers. And of course, remember, when you're doing this, you have to have a disclaimer and an opt-out section. I'm going to show you now one of the things we did for a hospital. I was trying to get permission to mention this hospital in this presentation. We were not able to secure that by now, so I'll not mention this hospital that we are doing a campaign for them. And it's an SMS campaign. It's based in Udaya. So what we did, and this is something that is in the, it's in the process, it's out there. We are using their visitors book. This hospital realized that they have no way of reaching out to communities. They are smack in the middle of a village, and they are new there. They have a big brand. They are well known in the country. And this is a branch of the big hospital. So they don't have a very good way of reaching out to the community. Yet they want to engage the community. They want to organize free medical camps. And initially they were using the influential people. You know, the way you go to the chief, you tell them, chief, you'll have this ENT camp on this date. They go through the women groups, they go through the youth groups. That would work, but they would miss out because the next time they have to go through the same opinion shapers in the community. I'm sure people in the NGO use this often. We go to the opinion shapers, again, we tell them we have this, but they had no way of following up and reaching out to the persona. Remember, communication is about you, is about face-to-face, it's about me speaking to you, not me speaking to you through another person. So what we did, we designed a visitor's book, of course, being very sensitive to patient information, but we realized that every patient, or most of the patients who come there in that hospital, were accompanied by a person. Maybe it's a mother bringing a son, or maybe it's a sibling bringing a sibling, or a parent being brought by a child, all these things. So we realized that we actually could collect a lot of contact at the entry level. So what we did at their gate, we designed this book. As you can see, it has name, it has telephone number, it has the email, and the sub-county they come from. And sub-county was very important because sometimes they just do ENTs, they do camps in specific counties. So this is what we have done. And the result so far is that there is an increase in brand awareness and attendance of their clinics. There is also an increase in traffic, foot traffic to the hospital and attendance of the camps that they do. And it's also very cost effective. You can imagine receiving an SMS, a very personalized SMS. Dear Lucy Wanjiko, XYZ hospital will have a camp in Mweiga County, Mweiga Secondary School, 10 to 11. Surely I will be prompted to go. And like hearing it from a third party, from an opinion leader or from a youth leader or from a women group. So it's important. And we can already see what is happening. So it's important to engage. SMSs gives you that first-hand access to the people you are talking to, first-hand access to your audience, first-hand access to the people that you want to influence, that people you want to join, the people you want to engage with. And it's also very important in creating awareness about your brand. Remember, if people don't know you, asiyekujua obviously hakudhamini. So it's important that we start thinking of how we can enhance SMSs for our business and for ourselves. Now, before we break into groups, let's look at some SMS marketing examples. Some of the SMSs that you have received, maybe they say, subscribe through this link. They provide you a link. We used that a lot as PCN, subscribe through this link, and we provide a link. When you click it, it would take you to the Google form where you list your number, your email address, and also tell you to pay. So that's one way. The other one is use this code at checkout before 6 p.m. for free shipping. This is also very used in I've seen it in Glovo. Amazon uses it. They sometimes tell you, okay, we have this offer at this restaurant, use this code to claim 100 bob discount. Then you have also used these SMSs that provide survey. So you can create a survey if you want people if you want to get a check, to sense check what people are feeling about your product, you can do a survey. Again, I have done surveys of, supermarkets. You have also seen them with banks or radio stations. Ipsos, they do these kinds of survey, and also they can give you a link that promotes sales of items, and they can tell you have until this time to claim your price or to clear your product. So all these are some of SMS marketing examples, and the examples can go on and on depending on the need that you want to have. Now, let's look at a question I get a lot is, what are the costs of SMS marketing? Because we have said it's cheap, but is it really cheap? That's the question. I'm happy to tell you that SMS marketing changes as you go. That is depends on how many SMSs you are sending. Obviously, if you have less than 100 people, there is no point of starting an SMS marketing system because it will be very expensive. But you have an investment of about 10 to 20,000 for setup. That gives you a short code name and the first free credits to send. Then the charges will depend on the volume you have sent. So initial start with upfront payment. You can agree with your bulk SMS provider to either have an upfront payment or invoice as you go. So you don't need much. I think it's actually the cheapest marketing thing you can really do is about 10 to 20K. You are all set up. You have a name, but you also have to look for accredited SMS provider that's accredited by the Communication Authority for you to work with, so that it's set up for you a short code that goes out with your name, and then you agree. I've seen people do up to even 30 cents for SMSs per SMS, per bulk SMS. but it really depends on the volume that you're using. If you have about 1 million SMSs that you're sending per month, you can negotiate up to 30 cents. If you have lower than that, the cost can go up to 1 shilling. But still, if you look at it, it's much cheaper than using the other means of communication. Because if you're gonna send 1,000 SMSs times 1, it's just about 10K. So it's a good way. I found it's cheap, and it's a very dependable way of communicating. Now let's look at what are the best practices when we come to SMS marketing. What are you supposed to do? What are the do's and what are the don'ts? One is you have to be mindful of timing of your messages. You have to avoid odd hours. And actually, the system that there is for reputable people is that you can only send a bulk SMS between 10 and 4 or 5. This is to avoid people sending you bulk SMSs at night. So many service providers say that you can only send sometimes between 9 and 5 during the wake hours. So if you have a bulk SMS, avoid odd hours. Don't send people SMSs to wake them at night to only find this PCN advertising. That's not nice. Then also include your company's name in your message. Ensure that the number you are using, the short code, is in tandem with your name. Then you can use SMS to complement your other digital marketing strategy. So if you have a digital campaign, a marketing campaign that is ongoing, then you use the bulk SMS to complement that campaign. Of course, I've seen people use only SMS, a few, and it still works. So it's really up to you, but it's good to have an SMS, a bulk SMS going on with other marketing campaigns in your organization, again, depending on the size and nature of your organization. Now, these are the mistakes you should avoid. SMS marketings to avoid. One, avoid sending too many texts. And this draws into what we are discussing before and the question that came, how many SMSs can you send? Avoid sending too many texts. Yeah, I was looking at the bank that I bank with. They actually don't send more than 2 SMSs in a day unless there is an alert, it's transactional alert. Maybe you have withdrawn or you have used a credit card for this. But on the general SMSs, that is a bulk SMS that goes to so many of us in that bank saying maybe alert, be aware of fraudsters, they only send 1 SMS in a day. So avoid spamming people's phones with SMSs. They will unsubscribe, by the way. They will opt out if you continue sending. Then you also have to avoid scheduling at the wrong time, as we have discussed. If you send SMSs, don't send too early in the morning or in the evening when people are with their families. Then also avoid using slang. Yeah, avoid using slang. I'm sure the people who are here will hate anything slang. Not all of us accept that kind of language, so it should be avoided. Then also identify yourself. Say, for example, XYZ vet practice invites you to this 2-day vaccination drive. Always remember to have your name. Even when you have a short code like PCN, you still have to write in your text, PCN invites you for this course, or PCN will be hosting a vaccination drive. You have to identify yourself in the text of the SMSs. Then, as you realize, every SMS that you send should have a call to action. What do you want people to do? And this is where now we say the rubber meets the road. If your SMS has no call to action, then you'll not be able to measure conversions. And we saw the call to actions that you can use, maybe subscribe, buy now, join us. It's also a call to action. We use it a lot. Or be aware, that's a call to action. be alert, that is a call to action. So you always have to prompt people to do something. It's not enough just to send people information without something, without a call to action, because they'll ask, so what? So you have to bridge the question of, so what? What are you telling me? What is the call to action? So always include a call to action in your SMSs. This is where now maybe the expertise, the communication expertise comes in your organization to be able to curate a 160 character message, including a call to action. Register, join us, bring your dog, subscribe to our newsletter. All these are call to action. What do you want people to do, and should be incorporated in your campaign and in your SMS. So we have the self-work that you'll be looking at. But before we look at self-work, is there any other question? If you have a question, you can type in. Thanks for taking the self-work so far. All the other 3 weeks that you've done your self-work, and we hope that you are connecting with the group, with your partner. Remember, this course, we are trying to really simulate the day-to-day workshops. So we really want you to connect with your partner. If you have not found a partner, we will send the grid again for you to send. So this week we covered SMS marketing. So with your partner, discuss how you can use SMS marketing to grow your business or your personal brand. Discuss how you start or grow your database, and write a welcome. Try to write a 160 character SMS with a call to action, and share with your partner. See how you can grow together, because this course is about growing each other and growing your influence. So work with your partner and share on the team's WhatsApp. So this self-work will be sent and is about SMS marketing, where you discuss with your partner how you can grow your business or your personal brand via SMS. Discuss how you start and you grow your database. And my appeal to you is, whenever you are planning your on-ground activations, please go out with a form. Go out with a form that collects email, that collects SMSs. But also remember to have a disclaimer. At the end of that form, have a disclaimer. And I'll just try and, because this question came, it's always important to have a disclaimer. Like you can see this sample we did for a hospital. There is a disclaimer here. Disclaimer: the hospital will use your contact details for public campaigns. We will not sell your personal details to a third party, and we'll only use it for public health campaigns. So it's important when you're collecting contacts, whether it's email, whether SMS, it's always important to let the person giving you their email and their telephone numbers, that we will use them for public campaign. Especially now, because of the regulations that will have come into force, you will not be able to use people's contact details without their consent. So it's always important to have that written very clearly at the end of the form. So if you are going out, maybe as a farmers meeting, have the form as detailed here: name, telephone number, email, sub-county, or whatever you want to include, but have a disclaimer saying that you'll use their numbers for campaigns or for marketing. Is always good to be very clear and to be open. And then do not sell your personal details to a third party. And this is also applicable when you do a website. There is the cookie policy right now. You have to include it in your, you have to be very clear when you are on your website that, yes, we'll use your information. We can give it to a third party. For example, if you have an agency that will be running your SMS campaign, then you also have to disclose that to the people you'll be working with. Very important information to go. So your self-work before we close is you discuss SMS marketing. Before we look at the offer for the week, There is a question from Dr. Maina Kibata. What about authorization from the client? I think I have covered that. Always have a disclaimer in your, whether you are using the visitors book or you are using the sales point where you are supposed to use people's numbers, always have that number, that disclaimer that you will use those details for marketing or for branding or for public campaigns or farmers mobilizations. So it's important to have that. Some bulk SMSs are personalized and mention you by name. Some are open. Why is the difference? Is it cost? No, it's actually a provision in the database, in the dashboard. You can opt to have the name of the person. So you say, dear Lucy, we invite you for this vaccination drive, or dear Lucy, we have a new product coming up. We'll be launching it at this time. Please look at your nearest aggravate. So this is also something, but people sometimes they don't use the name because the names are very long. You can imagine if you had to say, dear Mwenye, that's the name of one of my sons. So you say Mwenye is so many characters. It's like mouthful. So how will you fit still to 160 characters? So those are the things that people juggle with. You decide to either have the name, but then have very short, very few characters, and then a link. But it's actually possible to personalize the message. And actually the outcomes are much higher when you address somebody by their name. Then there's Dr. Kibata who asks, beside the disclaimer, there should be signature. Yes, there should be signature that they agree. But actually you find most of the numbers, most of the forms that we use have a place for signature. So there should be that on the form. Do they have to sign the form? Yes, they do have to sign the form in addition to the signature. But I know most of the time when we go to a workshop or to a farmers meeting, there's a place for the signature. So you should make it as a going concern, as that as a standing template for the time you go out. If you're going to a farmers meeting, have a template in your organization that you'll be using to collect emails, especially, and telephone numbers of the people you meet there, because that's the only way you'll be able to, to reach out and use the data without any prohibition. Irene Mutisia says mostly schools use a child's name to address parents, quite personal, very good. Yes, the schools have also mastered the art of using SMS marketing to mobilize their constituents. Good. So finally, as we come to the end of the training today, we have that offer. If you are an NGO or a vet practice or an agrovet or an individual, and you want to be set up on email or even on SMS marketing, as we have learned today, we will also be able to help you to redesign your website, generate content, get you started on SMS marketing, grow your database, and be able to sell your sizzle. So if you need any help, I've seen in the chat a lot of people asking whether we provide, we are providers. Yes, we are, but we can discuss that outside of this training, because this training is just to get our digital skills up. So if you need any help, you can contact me. My email is lucywanjiku@gmail.com or lucywanjiku@animalpeople.org.ke, and my number remains 0722 616 691. So you can contact us and we can discuss how we do that. So my hope is that we'll be able to use the skills that we have learned so far to extend our business, to extend our influence, and become better communicators, whether on email, whether on SMS, or whether on Facebook, in any digital platform. That's why we are learning these tools, so we can be able to use them to expand our influence in the long run. So is there any question?